here's how to do it. You need to focus your efforts. You need to go all in on one thing, shut down all of the distractions, and then his motto is get 1% better every day. And there's so many things we can talk about here, but this is something that is particularly challenging for me because I love to be involved in 1,000 different things. But what he was talking about was when he realized that helping others get their books created, written, published, and grow their, get that out there was the thing that he really enjoyed and got the most out of, then he actually shut down all of his other revenue streams, which is like, oh, wow, that's crazy. That's daring.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the literary convo I had with Jake Kelfer in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. I'm just going to say, first time ever that I've said this intro without fucking it up. So we're all going to give me a round of applause. Anyways, okay, so you guys, today is Autism Supermom Day. So if you have a friend in your life who is a mom whose child is autistic, please give them a hug. Tell them they're a super mom. Tell them they're doing amazing things. It's
actually part of Autism Awareness Month.
Yep.
And this day was created to celebrate the strength, courage, and determination of mothers of autistic children. So if that is you, you are amazing. Yeah, and we have an episode coming up with a guest who is a mom of an autistic child. And again, if we are screwing up how we're saying that, please feel free to correct us. Just don't yell at us. Just say, this is how you say it. But I hope I'm getting it right, because I do know that there is so much awareness that needs to be brought around neurodivergent children and that whole thing. And so please be there for those who have a kid on the who is neurodivergent, because it's hard. It's hard to be a parent in general. It's even harder when your child has a different way of learning, a different way of sharing those things, and people look at you like they should be normal. So we should just get rid of the word of normal. Anyways, yeah. That's today's holiday. Earlier this week, we hosted our first live to the public Profitable Pilates workshop. You guys, we actually, it's been many moons since we did anything like that, and really, if anything, this kind. Probably like 48 moons.
Yeah. How many years is that? 4?
Yeah.
5? Yeah. So, so this one was on how to raise your rates, and you will be able to, basically we did it because we were filming an older course, and I wanted to make sure that as many people as possible could have access to this teaching, this learning, because it's so important that y'all know how to do this without cringing and freaking out. So at any rate, it will be a course that will be available for you to get on profitwise.com at some point soon. And next month is Pilates Day is on May 6th. And you should save this date, because I'm actually going to teach on Instagram live a class, which is something I haven't done in 48 moons. I'm teaching a workout on Instagram with Tavi Noir, toe socks, and Vore bag. So save the date. It will be in the morning Pacific time. All those dates will be on my Instagram, so make sure you're following me. And you can also win some badass stuff, so I'm just saying. And then here we go. The countdown is on. You guys, we are less than a month away from being in Seoul, which, by the way, I didn't tell you this, but when I was getting my hair done, a girl from Korea was like, they call it so. It's like, so. Yeah, we're just saying it wrong. So I sound like a white girl when I say it, but we're going to Seoul. But I think it's so. For Pilates on tour.
Nailed it there. Nailed it. Great job.
I'm going to learn.
I think it's Seoul.
Anyways, I'm fucking it up. However, Duolingo has a Korean lesson, so I feel like maybe I should download for Korean just so I can get my directions around. I really like it. Anyways, we'll have flashcards there. We'll be at the POT there, which was almost sold out the last time I checked. And then I will also be teaching a couple different workshops in Seoul before we head home. So if you have any questions about either place where you can take workshops with me, please hit us up. Okay, July, we are coming to the UK. We have very, very few spots available for the mullet tour, the business in the front, the Pilates in the back.
Oh, yeah.
So those on the wait list, we're getting first dibs. They're also getting the early bird price, and then we'll open that to the public.
Yeah, and go to opc.me/UK and get on the wait list.
Yeah, and if it is after April when you hear this, you can still go there.
Yeah.
The early bird will have passed, but you can still go there and get the information. September, we'll be in Poland. You actually can start snagging your spots right now. So if you get on the wait list there, I'll send you to the place where you can go, lesleylogan.co/Poland. We'll make sure you get information, and you can take privates with me during this conference, and there'll be flashcards as well. So if you're in Europe and you're tired of the shipping, 2 awesome options to save a ton on shipping and hang out in real life, which is way more fun.
Going back 1 month.
Going forward 1 month?
Going back 1 month to August.
Oh! And before we go to Poland, Brad, myself, and our dogs are going to do a West Coast tour. So you want to get on the wait list for this, opc.me/tour. You guys, we're super, super excited about this. We're working with people to pick locations, dates, make this a big, badass circle. Just truly a summer party of Pilates. And
it's looking like we're going to go from Vegas south to San Diego, and then up the coast, all the way up to Seattle. So if you're anywhere in that route and, within a couple hour drive and you want to come hang, we'll be posting all the dates and specifics as we get closer. But to make sure you get that information, just go to opc.me/tour.
Yep. And then, jumping ahead, after Poland, we go to Cambodia. We will come home in between, but
that'll be in October.
Yeah, and there's still a few spots left, although it's filling up really fast, and just going to be
it's going to be an amazing
time.
I'm so fired up.
Oh my gosh, we already know who's coming, who's signed up, and we've got Australians, we've got some people from the States, we got is Ainley's from the UK, or is she from? Yeah, so we're going global. We're going to all meet in one amazing jungle. So
more info on that at lesleylogan.co/retreat. LESLEY Logan.co/retreat.
If you're a type A person trying to remember all these links, you're just going to the show notes and
just go to the show notes. They'll all be in the show notes.
And finally, November, I'm coming to Miami for POT, and I'll be with our amazing friend Erica Quest, and we're also doing a fun little workshop around there. So if you want more information on that, just hit me up. And then
just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll get you more links. We're clearly good at that. Okay. We're almost to talking to Jake Kelfer. Sorry, guys, I got excited about all the European vacations. But before we get into Jake's interview recap, do we have a question to respond to, Mr. Brad?
We sure do. The question is, what are your favorite books right now, or favorite podcasts beside your own?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. Go first? Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love to read fiction books. I don't really read nonfiction very often.
I'm going to out him. Every quarter he goes to this gentleman's hang, and they all talk about the books that they bring, and everyone brings some sort of nonfiction political book that's life-changing, award-winning, and they have these deep discussions, and Brad is like...
And I was like, I reread Harry Potter for the 75th time. I'm a big, massive fan of an author named Michael J. Sullivan. He is prolific. He's written 20 plus books, and I've listened to them all multiple times. It is one of my favorite go-tos. It's when I am winding down at the end of the day and I want to listen to some ear candy and not stress about anything or think about anything else. I can get lost in the stories that he writes. They're amazing. So anything he's written is really, really fantastic, Michael J. Sullivan. So he's one of my favorite authors. And podcasts, I'm still a big fan of Smartless. I love just kind of goofing off with those guys is what it feels like. But I know that leads directly into one of your new pods.
Okay, so we were listening to Smartless, And I do love SmartLess, but I go back and forth because sometimes I'm like too stressed out for them. I'm like, do they not understand the world right now? So sometimes I'm like, I just want someone to tell me that I'm not crazy. But we were listening to them the other night, and they actually interviewed Jamila Jamil. She's a comedian who has a new podcast called Bad Dates. You guys, I was so pissed that there was only 3 episodes. Do they not know how to drop a podcast? You have to have 12. You have 3 on day 1, and then you do every other day. And then after 2 weeks, you start going into your regular cadence. And I'm just going to say, that's my feedback for Jamila Jamil's podcast called Bad Dates, because it is awesome. It doesn't matter.
Despite that, they still hit the top listens.
Yeah, they're in new and noteworthy with not playing the game. So good for them. Also, Smartless, which is the #1 podcast in the world, told them everybody listen. But so you guys, what I love about it is there's nothing about it that makes you think of work or politics or the world. You are just listening to comedians mostly, and writers, and really just good storytellers who happen to be fairly famous, or you might recognize their faces, talk about bad dates they've been on. And it's not that the person on the date is the bad one. They could be the bad one.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding.
Awkward situations, unfortunate incidences. I mean, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. I cried laughing. I've listened to every episode 2 times because I couldn't wait for Brad, so I did like a little pod adultery, and then I made him listen. I made him sit and listen with me watching him because it was so funny. So that's my favorite pod besides my own right now. And
Give us
books.
a book.
So, of course, I've been talking about creating superfans. We have the author of that coming out really soon. And then Jake's, I've got his book, Big Idea to Bestseller, so I'm loving that. And then I'm going to pull a book out from like many moons ago, 48 to be exact.
We're on this moons thing today.
We are. We're also, at the time of recording this, it just the full moon went into Libra.
It was an epic
so it was
moon.
epic. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's stunning. Anyways, back to one of my favorite books that everyone should read. It's called The Body's Not an Apology. Body's Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. And you guys, it's just a beautiful book. You can listen to it on Audible. You can read the book. You can check it out at your library. A must listen to in today's day in a world where we should all stop being so perfect about our bodies and love the ones we have. So, okay, those are my books.
Love the one you're with. Love the one you're with. Love the one you're with.
Do you know the rest of the lyrics?
No.
Yeah.
I think they repeat it like 50 times.
I'll find out.
Okay, now let's talk about Jake Kelfer. Inspired by Kobe Bryant and beginning his career with the Los Angeles Lakers, Jake Kelfer is a lifestyle entrepreneur and best-selling author dedicated to helping others write books to leave a lasting impact. He is the creator of Big Idea to Bestseller program and the Life Enjoyment Matrix, which we're going to talk about today because it's so cool, which helps individuals grow a business and live the life that they love.
Yeah. So this is so fun. We actually did this interview on the road. We did it from our hotel room.
Yeah.
In Monterey. Yeah. And also we got this guest because of UK Claire, who obviously we're going to go see when we're doing our mullet tour, but she had her an amazing episode on the pelvic floor. So she's been working with Jake. She's going to get her a book out. So it's amazing. I actually know that her first draft is like ready to go. So
I did not know that.
Oh yeah. Hello. This is how it all happened. Although it could have happened because Jake knows all of our other friends.
I know. As soon as you started talking, I was like, oh yeah, sounds so.
We know all of these people. I guess we should have been friends already, but thanks, Claire. So, okay, let's talk about the Life Enjoyment Matrix. So this does take, you have to like sit down and do this. And I think this is where people get a little like, oh, I just want to know. And they want to skip this over. But when you do this, it's going to be great. So first, decide the type of life you want to live. And then that's your life enjoyment. Right? Yeah. And then ask, how am I making decisions that lead to greater enjoyment of my life? So like maybe you go through your day and is this morning habit that I have, is this routine, is this actually creating the life I want to live? Is this actually helping me? Like go through it and then ask yourself how you're making these decisions. Are they happening to you? Are you just like a people pleaser, just doing things? Like ask yourself that. Then this is cool. So he uses numbers to take out the emotion Sorry guys, my dog moved and it shocked my ears. I just need to take a moment.
You might want to go watch that on YouTube.
Yeah, I like jumped out of my booster seat.
She jumped out of her booster. Yeah.
Okay. So let the numbers take the emotion out of it and go for what is going to bring you the most joy. So this is actually really great because I think sometimes we get a little emotional when it comes to our goals or it comes to certain things, and he uses numbers to kind of put things on a scale. So it's less personal, it's less like there's something wrong with you. And he talked about like how when he eats dairy pizza, it's like 9 out of 10 on life enjoyment. Like it tastes so good. But he gets stuck at home feeling nauseous, which makes his life a 1, and the average is like a 5. I would call that average maybe a 4, but but at any rate, so that is like one way to like look at something. Or he can make a decision like, okay, if I eat a dairy-free pizza, it's a 7. It's not the most exciting thing, but then I can keep hanging out with my friends, which is a 10. Now I'm averaging 8.5. So you're making decisions based on the enjoyment you want to have in life versus this tastes super good in the moment and then I'm paying for it later. I've done that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's... I think
we've all done that.
I think the most obvious one is like, should we have that extra glass of wine, right? And you're like, oh, I'm feeling high right now. This is great. I want to maintain. I'm just going to keep on going because I'm at a 10. This is so good. And then the next morning you are at a negative 10 because you're like, oh, I can't even think, move, cloud, brain not functioning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's a 1, 10 and 5, you'd be back at a 5.
Yeah.
On average there.
So like
not great.
So I think what this will kind of this matrix will help you do is like as you're planning things, before you even say yes to something, just go, yep, let me get back to you, and then ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, where's the enjoyment of hanging out with these people?
Yeah.
And if you're like,
or whatever it is that you want to do, like maybe it's staying up late to watch another episode of your favorite show, and then you don't get enough sleep. So how do you feel the next day? You can weigh those two things against each other.
By the way, if it has to do with the White Lotus, you will never regret the sleep that you let go of, because then the next day you don't have to worry about spoilers. So this is, however, other things, we do this unconsciously, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun just to like put numbers to a lot more things, because I have definitely been like, oh, do I want to do that? Do I want to watch one more episode of this thing, or do I want to walk the dogs? Or if I watch one of this thing and I can't walk the dogs, which one is going to win right now in the enjoyment scale? And you get to decide. It can change day to day. So I thought it was cool.
But also I think it's funny because, I think that there's like a short term versus a long term that he could overlay into this concept too, where, in the short term it's a 10, but in the long term it's a 1 or a 5. In the short term it's a... he's feeling like he's sacrificing by eating that dairy-free pizza, but in the long term, it's even more beneficial because it's benefiting the rest of his life. So, the short term versus the long term enjoyment.
I'm going to be really honest. I just got my blood results back. And I can tell you right now, my short-term decisions of some things that I don't do are having some crazy, amazing long-term decisions on my blood work. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
I did add one thing to my life after this blood test. One thing. So, well, actually a few things, but nothing out of my, the one thing that's in my control. The hormones were not, so that's different. But of the eating things, of the choices on the enjoyment scale. So, which means I get to have more avocados because they are on the antioxidant list. And I was like, oh, who's going to say no to more guacamole?
I love that. Well, so for me, he kind of said something in a offhand comment, and he kind of rushed through, but I just thought it was so visually poignant that I wanted to call attention to it. He was talking about his personal story, and he just kind of said, yeah, I wanted to get through that ceiling and make it a floor. And I thought, I've never actually thought about that before. That's so funny. We talk about the ceiling, the glass ceiling, breaking through the barrier, all this stuff. And he said not only did he want to break through it, but he wanted to make that his floor. And I was like, wow, okay. And he said, here's how to do it. You need to focus your efforts. You need to go all in on one thing, shut down all of the distractions, and then his motto is get 1% better every day. And there's so many things we can talk about here, but this is something that is particularly challenging for me because I love to be involved in 1,000 different things. But what he was talking about was when he realized that helping others get their books created, written, published, and grow their, get that out there, was the thing that he really enjoyed and got the most out of, then he actually shut down all of his other revenue streams, which is like, oh, wow, that's crazy. That's daring. And he said, you know what, let's just give it a try and see what happens. And over that next year, when he was able to focus his efforts, they had a record-breaking year.
Yeah.
And, that's the going all in on one thing. And so shutting down all other distractions, even revenue streams, that can be really challenging. But for a lot of people, I know this is hard for me because there's so much fear in that. Like when I remember when I was working my full-time job and I was doing web development, like, at lunch and after in the evening, like after I got home, it felt like, how am I ever going to replace my full-time income with my part-time gig that I'm, my business that I'm doing? And there was a lot of fear of letting go of that distraction, because that was what it was turning into. Was my job was turning into, like, I wasn't enjoying it, that's for darn sure. And it was not, like I couldn't be doing client calls because I was at the office doing my job. And, but letting go of that job really was a challenge, because that golden handcuffs feeling and, just the simple fear of what if it doesn't work, but
just that little thing, fear,
minor deeds. But once I did, I didn't end up making this a career, but, we made way more money when I had the time to focus on talking to our clients, getting new clients, pitching new clients, building new websites, than we did when I was just working at, 1 or 2, 3 hours a day.
And then when you got rid of all that stuff and just went on our thing that we now do together, we make more.
Yeah,
because there's less distractions.
Actually, that's like a really compelling story, because when I was doing the websites, importing all those products and selling on Amazon, and doing like filming events and stuff, like I was making enough money to live and eat and pay the bills and whatnot. But when I got rid of all of that and focused, my efforts with you on our company, then it paid for both of our lives.
Yeah.
Where I was struggling to make ends meet when I was doing all that other stuff. So, this is like, I just thought it was really cool to call attention to this again. Mm-hmm. If you're doing like a dog walking business and trying to teach Pilates or something, what if you focused? Or what if you're doing, I don't know, babysitting or something, whatever it is, if you're distracted in that way, trying to, what if you let go of something and focused on the main thing?
Yeah, we have an agency member who took a leave of absence at her. Right. It was a part-time gig, but like it was more than 20 hours a week
employed,
because she'd have to drive almost 2 hours each way, plus full day. And so then, while that doesn't sound like a lot, she still had like her farm, and she still had her business. And so you start to go, well, where's the time to promote the business that you want to be having, that you want to be teaching? And so she took 90 days to go full on her Pilates business, and she's able to go to networking things. And also, to be honest, she couldn't have gotten to a real job anyways because of all the snow that was there. But it's just
the
snow. Yeah. They had tons of snow. But the point is like, it is so scary, but you don't have to rip the net away. You can actually do a leave of absence and try things out, or you can give yourself like, okay, I'm going to do it for this long and I'm going to see what happens. And if that's an acting career in LA, I'm going to tell you right now, 6 months is not long enough. Just so you know, just giving you that. But if it's something else, you probably can start to see possibility in 6 months of just dedicating yourself to one thing.
Yeah, and another, like, side note to all that, his motto is get 1% better every day. And I thought, wow, that is really, that doesn't seem too intimidating.
It makes me think of Alan Stein Jr.'s thing too, which is like at the end of each day he's asked himself if he's closer to the person he wants to be, right? Which is like closer can be, 1% is closer.
Yeah, totally. And, like adopting that, it allows the perfectionism, to kind of be sidelined, because you don't have to, it doesn't have to be 100% better. it can be 1% better, you know, and if you, especially if you're, you know, going back to this lifestyle enjoyment matrix, if you're, you know, making one micro decision each day that helps you bump those averages up, you know, that's going to be, over time it compounds. It's going to be amazing, just like you were talking about with the long term in your life. So how can you turn your ceiling into a floor?
Yeah. It's like a snow globe.
Okay, so finally, let's talk about those be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Jake Kelfer?
Okay, here we go. If you want to achieve greatness, you must enjoy the pursuit in the process. I'm just gonna leave a little space for that because I feel like a lot of people complain about the process or frustrated about the process. Even I'll sometimes go, I'm so tired of this being so hard. But you have to enjoy it, the process, at least some of the process, part of the process, the pursuit of it. So here's how he suggests to do it. It's called the ACE method. So easy to remember. A is action. Take positive and intentional action in the direction of your dreams. So hello, being kind to yourself and having positive thoughts around those actions, and taking that action is going to distill the fear, right? Connection is C. Build meaningful and intimate connections to find the right people to support you. This is huge. Like the reason Jake is here is because of connections. Yep. He could have been here sooner with other connections, but he was here when he's here because of a different connection, right? Like one that Jake and I probably would never have thought would have been one. But such a huge thing. And so all the different things that we often happen, this house we live in, is all from different connections. And so oftentimes we like shy away from making those, or we think, who am I? But you have no idea who you are to offer people things. And it's actually a lot of fun to connect other people to different things. And then what you should then do is typically go, how can I help you? And then you can ask for the connection you need. Enjoyment. That's E. E for enjoyment. Can you imagine if I was like, you know, when you like say a letter, N for Nancy, it's like E for enjoyment.
E.
How do you spell my name? Lesley, L. E for enjoyment. S. Okay. You must enjoy yourself in order to achieve the life you're destined for.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most common thread through this whole thing is his, you know, the life enjoyment matrix. He talks about including enjoyment in the be it action item, like how do you achieve greatness, you know, and just consistent throughout the whole thing was the idea that you should, you must enjoy what you're doing in order to achieve the life of greatness that you want.
Yeah, and like you're not going to shame yourself to be at the top. And if you somehow do, like we've heard of athletes who get all the way to the top, and they hated the whole way there, you don't end up staying at the top going, this is a party. Right. You kind of have that like expectation hangover. So it's the more you can really enjoy yourself, the easier everything is to put one step in front of the other, to show up and do the scary thing, to have the life you want to live, to have people in your life that you want to be around. Because people want to be around persons having a good time. You guys, sure do. Jake he's like a book papa. Like, you guys, he is going to help you take your big idea and make it a book. And if you're like, I've never thought I was going to be a writer, go listen to Roxy's episode.
I love it when you call me book papa.
Put your hands in the air. Oh my God, that's the best. Okay, so anyways, if you are wondering if you have an idea that's worth writing about, talk to Jake. His team is going to take care of you and really help you understand how you can go from saying I'm not a writer to having a book. And people are reading books, guys.
Yeah, totally.
And more people should be writing books worth reading, and that includes, if you're listening to this, that's you.
Yeah, so, and if you do take start a convo with him, let him know that you heard him on the pod.
Yeah, and what your takeaway was.
Yeah, because your biggest takeaway.
Because people need to hear that their word made a difference.
Yeah.
So it makes them feel awesome and seen, and don't we all want to feel that way? I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you going to use these tips in your life? We want to know. Tag the Beit Pod. Tag Jake Kelfer.
Oh, yeah.
And,
and P.S. He offered to give a free copy of his book to you.
Oh!
If you DM him on IG, tell him that you heard about the pod, and say you'd love a free copy of the book, and he'll send you it.
Oh, well, we should have said that at the top.
I know. I just remembered right now, and I forgot to put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Or in the notes.
we're gonna also say this. You're gonna hear this at the end, and we're gonna record it again for the beginning. Because this is too good. So DM him if you want his book. Who doesn't want a free book? We all need to read things. And if you liked my list of books, his was one of them. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, loves. Well, we'll see you tomorrow because now we have Friday episodes.
That's right. FYF coming your way tomorrow.
Yeah, and we want to share your wins. So you can send them to the Beit Pod on Instagram.
Oh, and stick around to the very end because we got some outtakes. That's been happening.
There's always outtakes. And the team does collect them for bloopers on the YouTube. But we're adding them into the end of the pod because you know what? You need to know that we are not perfect. You're not perfect.
And we're enjoying the process.
And we are enjoying that. So have a good laugh on our behalf. Love you.
Bye now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the epic team at Desenio.
Our theme music is by A.C.E. at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Jean-Francois Chauffeur.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Samena Velasquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Harricombe for adding all the content to our website. And finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.
It's like Choco Tacos stopped selling, but then people got upset, so they're going to bring them back. Why? Because people finally let people know we actually like the Choco Taco. Interesting. Okay, ready?
No, you look really short for some reason.
I'm sitting up. My feet are on the ground.
It's just the weirdest thing. I don't know why.
I am shorter than you.
You just have like a lot of space over your head.
I don't know. Like, can the chair
go up?
I don't know. No.
Didn't go. Here, sit on a pillow.
I got one.
Oh, there you go.
I feel super tall.
No, you actually look normal. And you can bring the mic up slightly if you want.
I'm on a booster seat. That's what I feel like. I never got to sit in those when I was a kid because I was already too tall. Didn't need one.
I have no idea if I had a booster or not.
Worth asking your parents.